Brands play a fundamental role in our society in shaping how we think of ourselves as well as the decisions we make. Now, what is your value proposition? Your value proposition or your brand positioning is the space in the consumer's mind that your brand takes up. So a positioning statement, and I mentioned, is a positioning statement. It's also important for you to understand that this is not a statement that you would have on your website, for an example. No, this is a statement. Your positioning informs both your internal teams as well as your external messaging. It's what you come back to say, does this campaign speak to the position we want to hold in the consumer's mind?
This over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mti. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Mti, I was hoping to be in conversation with you, in fact, but I can understand, Mti, already when are you feeling like it's September? It's September 2025. So, I mean, yeah. So if you don't have your camera on, I will.
But I'm here with you, Phyllis. I'm here with you.
Coolness. So welcome, everyone. You know, as Mti is mentioning that last year we had this conversation, we're picking up from last year. In my heart, I'm thinking, how many people remember that far back? I mean, life has been going, we show up, go life, you know. So maybe not all of us remember, you know, what we covered last time we met. So I thought maybe I'll kick off with, we'll recap together, literally 3 slides about what we covered the last time, and then spend a lot of time looking at emotional intelligence, really, which is what I believe is your epicenter for resilience. If we're saying umuntu is resilient, a lot of the times it's because they have mastery over the different elements of emotional intelligence. And I do recall, Guti, last year we did touch on it, but we didn't have enough time. We were talking a lot and I just enjoyed the vibe. Thank you. And I'm seeing some of the faces that were there, or some of the names that were there the last time. So it feels so warm to see those names again. So let's keep it exactly as it was last year, colleagues. And welcome to those who were not able to join us last year. Let's have a meaningful conversation this evening. To Mti's point, really, it must be conversational. Otherwise, it's death by PowerPoint. You know, I mean, in the evening, death by PowerPoint is really it's not best practice. So let's have it as a conversation, colleagues. Cool. As we begin, I'm thinking some people, just judging by the conversations I've been having with clients and colleagues, people are already overwhelmed. It's only the second, in fact, it's early days in the second month of the year. People are it's like, yo, guys, what is happening this year? There's a sense of hecticness that is happening. Something in the collective consciousness feels rushed, you know? So I'm hoping and I'm wishing for you to walk away with one thing today, this evening. It might not be everything that I share, but I'm wishing for you as a fellow entrepreneur, a fellow traveler, I'm wishing for you to just hold on to one thing that will make you feel like, you know what, I can put one foot in front of the other. And please don't go, some of the might unpack here. Don't feel like you need to go through things alone. Hey, my door is here exactly for our support. Some of you already know I am available for those who need support. Yeah, please, guys, we are in this together. This is one of the reasons why, by the way, I'm excited about today. I don't feel like I'm presenting to, you know, boardroom and all of this. This is family. This is family, so I feel very comfortable. So please chip in. Feel free to disrupt me. Don't wait for me to you know, question and answer at the end. I might not remember what I said, so it's not in your best interest. So colleagues, just to recap last time, what we started off with is that you are a leader in this hangout that you are managing and leading. Many people see you as maybe in control when you stand up and you are addressing your stakeholders, other clients or employees. People really see you as, oh, Phyllis has got it going on, eh? But people don't really see what is happening beneath the iceberg. So I often have this image when I think of us as entrepreneurs, that people tend to see this tip of the iceberg. They see the brand we represent, they see the skill set we bring. They really don't know what is happening underneath. Ne? And beneath, I can hear the sound. Can everybody else hear? Yes, I hope you all can hear me. Thumbs up, please, guys. It's just me and you.
No, I'm seeing thumbs up,
Oh,
Phyllis.
okay. Maybe
I think Mpunzi needs
now
to
I'm
just
seeing it.
maybe
Yes, now I'm
log
seeing
in and log out. Yeah.
it. Cool. All right. Yeah, so people see us as just what we do, and maybe some people see us as really being in control and maybe glorify the role of an entrepreneur. Which, wow, how brave you are to have started this. Ne? People don't see the bottom of the iceberg, which most of the time is made up of our anxieties, made up of what is happening in the economy. Many of you might be aware of some of the recent events in the United States with the new president announcing bizarre things, some of which might impact us directly in this country. But a lot is going on underneath the iceberg, but we still have to keep it moving and keep in control. But when we ended last year, I challenged all of us, or invited all of us, to think differently about what spectacles are we using to look at everything that is going on? What spectacles are you wearing when you are considering your bottom of the iceberg? Ne? So I shared this slide to say, when you think of your own 2024 experiences, ne? Those experiences are really raw data, ne? Whether the economy grew in your eyes or in your experience, or it shrank, whatever the experiences of 2024 were for you, they're literally yours. They're based on the spectacles that you're wearing when you're looking at that external data. So think of the events, even of the US, as it's raw data. You interpret based on your own experience what is happening outside of you. Ne? So this is an invitation to take responsibility for what perspective are you using, or what lens are you using to make sense of the external world. Ne? A lot of the times, if we have a growth mindset and we see potential opportunities and challenges and so on, we are likely to thrive. But if we see external events and we see ourselves as victims in relation to those external events, often we are found wanting, and we are found on the back foot. We don't thrive. So this slide was really meant to say, challenge your own thinking, because your thought process influences your feelings, and your feelings will influence, if they're strong enough, they will influence physically how your body responds to those feelings. Ne? Because your mind, your brain and your body are very intricately linked. So what you're thinking, your cells in your body are paying attention to that. Ne? Therefore, by the time you behave, whether you're showing up at a client or you are addressing some of your employees and so on, all of that is informed by an intricate process in your internal world. Ne? So this is an invitation, colleagues, to just say, let's take responsibility. Let's use this session now to reflect about, how do I take responsibility for responding to the circumstances that I face, that face me, that I face. English in the evening, I go strong all the time. Ne? Take responsibility for your perspective. The healthier your perspective is, the better the chances for you to thrive. Ne? Halfway through our conversation the last time, I challenged you to say, therefore, your experiences, whether they were good or bad, goodness or badness really is in the eye of the beholder, and then we had a good discussion about this. I think it is true. Whether it was a good year or a bad year last year is dependent on the spectacles that you're wearing and what you're zoning in on, Yeah, I also shared this model with the team the last time. The fact that you have an intention, I have an intention of showing up in my business and to give my best. It is my intention to showcase this brand and this experience of Kisima in a manner that has impact, positive impact. That intention is in my head and it's in my heart. People don't see what my intention is, but people are constantly responding to the impact I have on them. Today, you will be responding by 7:30 to the impact I would have had on you. Never mind the intention. My intention is for you to have a fruitful 1 hour. And I feel like right now, I feel like I'm winning. By the way, MT, I feel like I'm winning against the president. And the president is talking at 7. And here you guys are engaged in this conversation. I really feel respected by that. So anyway, by 7:30, you will have decided, you will make a judgment call whether was this a wasted 1 hour or not wasted 1 hour. It will be up to you. The reason why impact is so important is because all of us are communicating verbally and non-verbally in our circumstances. Only 7%, some of you will remember, only 7% of what you say to anybody is the words that you use. That means 93% of what you say is not coming out of the words. This is significant because you might say something like, I'll give you your report on Friday. Or say, I'll give you a report on Friday. That 7% in Exhibit A and Exhibit B are exactly the same. But how I postured myself would have given a different response. You will respond differently to those two sets of statements towards you. Because 38% weighs far heavier than the words. How you mold the words weighs much heavier than the words themselves. Your body language also, weighs far more. For example, if as I'm doing this presentation, I just choose to say, you know what, let me cut off the 55% and allow you only to rely on the 38% and the 7%. Nothing is wrong inherently with that. You will still probably adjust yourself to that and then continue listening and taking in the visuals and all of this. But the impact I have on you is very different than when I'm having my camera on and you can see my gestures, my hands, and so on. For example, did it make a difference for you when I switched off just now, when I switched off the camera and switched it on again? Anybody? Or did it not really matter to you? Okay, you're still easing into the conversation. Okay, it's fine. We'll give you. All right. So just as a wrap up on last year's conversation, I shared this tool to give you good news. The fact that you can narrow this gap between your intention and your impact, right? And primarily the narrowing of this gap is dependent on your quality of engagement. So all the elements that are listed on the right hand of the screen are just ways of narrowing the gap, ways of engaging. Né? Listen to feedback, the verbal and non-verbal feedback, but also ask questions, clarify when you don't understand so that you don't walk away with assumptions, but also you invite a person to demystify whatever perceptions they would have had about you. Né? Very important. Then we moved on. Okay, now I can start today's one. We kind of started off the last time with emotional intelligence. Né? 5 elements make up emotional intelligence, which I'll go into depth on now. Self-perception, how you express yourself to others, the quality of your relationships, interpersonal, that's number 3. Number 4 is your decision-making. How do you arrive at conclusions without being flustered by emotion too much? And finally, how do you manage stress? How do you reply? So I will go into the detail of these 5 elements and then open for discussion. But please, again, ask me as we go along, colleagues, so that you're not holding yourself hostage as well. So basically, what emotional intelligence is, né? I'd like you to think about it as a set of tools. Né? Think of yourself as holding a rucksack. Né? And in this rucksack, there's a couple of social tools that you have. In any interaction and any social context, you pull out the one tool that is most relevant for that situation. That's what emotional intelligence is. It's a set of tools that you will use as you navigate your life experiences, personally, professionally, and so on. It is made up of your perception of yourself, how you express yourself, how you build relationships, how you deal with challenges, and how you make decisions. Of course, when you improve your emotional intelligence, it is inevitable that it will result in personal growth. When you improve EQ, emotional intelligence, when you improve EQ, de facto, you improve your own growth in your personal circumstances, in the way you view yourself, you view life, and so on. You expand your horizon as a person. That is a positive. But also the benefits of EQ is that you improve your quality, from a business point of view, quality of relationships, how you deal with stakeholders, all stakeholders, not only shareholders, people who own a piece of your business, but your vendors. I'm not talking a tribe now. Your service providers, it matters. Your clients, every stakeholder in your food chain or your value chain, those relationships improve when you have improved you. Do you realize that it's about taking ownership, coming back to you, so that you do better when you show up. So again, it's about the lens you're wearing when you're looking at yourself and looking at your engagements. And ultimately, your business is going to improve when you make sure that you've put in place all the necessary blocks that you need to put in place. You will improve. So I think I'm seeing a question somewhere here. Am I? Oh, not really. Good. I hope we're still together on this one, colleagues. I want to introduce to you this model of emotional intelligence. In the market, there's many different models. I like this one because it's quite comprehensive, and it has been benchmarked globally. So there is data to compare you. If you were to do this assessment using this tool, there's data that will show you how you compare with your global counterparts, people in New Zealand, in the UK, other parts of Africa, the US. You can compare apples with apples. So I like that it is widely researched, but also we've got our own norms and standards in the country. So it is made up of this model is made up of 5 slices. Self-perception at the top of the screen, towards your right, it's self-expression. Interpersonal is the third one. Decision-making is that green one. If you're not colorblind, I think you can see the green. And then finally, stress management. You'll realize that between the 5 slices, there's a white line that divides the 5 slices. But there's also an indent, one kind of an arrow leading one slice into the other. What that suggests with this model is that all the 5 slices are interconnected. You can't just take one slice and say self-perception. Okay, I've mastered emotional intelligence because I've got this self-perception thing on point. Your self-perception impacts expression and so on. So there's an interconnectedness such that all of them will give you a comprehensive picture of how well you fare as a person. So if you think of each of these 5 slices, think of them as a cake. Each of the slices has got 3 layers underneath. For example, if you look at the first slice is self-perception. Self-perception has got 3 elements underneath it. It's self-regard, self-actualization, and emotional self-awareness. So think about these 5 slices as a round cake. I hope nobody's hungry in the room. As a round cake, made up of 5 chunks, 5 slices. And each slice has got those 3 layers underneath. So see that model is a 3D kind of model. As I'm demonstrating here, the first slice, self-perception, is made up of those 3 layers, which is equivalent to a slice of cake with 3 layers underneath. I hope we're still together, colleagues. So to make these 5 slices just more easier to see, easy on the look, easy on the eye, these are the same 5 slices. I've just put them slightly differently. Self-perception is number 1, self-expression, interpersonal, decision-making, and stress management. So as I go through, I'm going to go through each of them in a little bit of detail. As I'm going through each of them, I want you to think about, how do I measure up on this slice? Am I below average? Am I average or am I above average on the slice? Ne? So non-judgmentally think about, as I talk through and as I give examples, just think about where do you stand. Ne? It's important that you don't feel like, yo, I belong in the dustbin. Why am I like this on this one? Really, the truth of the matter, colleagues, is that every behavior serves a purpose. So if you still have certain tendencies and they continue, it means those tendencies serve a purpose for you until they stop serving a purpose. Now, this is how you are designed neurologically. You will not continue any behavior unless you get a payoff from it. So it's important not to judge yourself when you are thinking about, man, this habit is not good for me. Rather ask yourself, why do I perpetuate that behavior if I don't feel like it is good for me? That's a more useful question to ask than to just stumble yourself about it. So as you're asking yourself with each, I want you to use this kind of image, the graph on the screen. You will either say you are below average or underdeveloped in that area, that slice, or you are average or you are adequately functioning in that area, or you will say, you know what, I'm above average on this one, or I'm overdeveloped on that one. The good news and bad news, all the same, is this. High scores or above average scores are not always a positive thing, and below average is not always a negative thing, colleagues. And you see as we go through this that everyone serves a purpose depending on the context you find yourself in. And I'll give you examples of why is it that matters. So we shouldn't be gunning for you're getting great high scores or score above average on everything. This is not the purpose here. The purpose is to reflect on what context are you finding yourself in, and does this profile help you to thrive and become the best entrepreneur you can be in that environment? Does it help you to show up at your best? So the first slice is about your relationship with yourself. The top layer is your self-regard. How much do you have a balanced view of yourself? Are you able to celebrate the good attributes you have? And are you able to equally say, you know what, this part I need to improve. Really, my timekeeping is not good. I need to improve on that. So when you have a balanced view of yourself, you are helping yourself to be healthy in your perception of yourself, in your confidence in yourself, or in your esteem. This is what colloquially we refer to as your self-esteem. So self-regard is about how well can you really embrace who you are, also observing though that you need areas of improvement. Nti, am I still making sense?
Yes, you are still following.
Lovely. So that's your self-regard. It's important, Vanilla, I know too, it's important to be balanced on that one. When people commend you on something that you're good at, say thank you, wow, and embrace it without dimming your light. You say, yeah, Mara, this and Mara, that, and dilute it. Good. Vanilla?
Sorry, ma'am, it was a mistake. I'm following.
Oh,
thank you.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
No worries. And then emotional self-awareness. This has got to do with your awareness of the different triggers you have and the different feeling tones in your internal world. All of us have got an internal world. You have a thought life. You've got a feeling life. And that life that you have inside of you responds constantly to the external environment, such that there'll be people that when you talk to them, they just trigger you. Like you can fly off the handle because you just don't know, why is this one irritating me? Maybe he or she reminds you of an uncle who's a liability in your life, or whatever the case is. So when you have healthy emotional self-awareness, you are able then to self-regulate, because you know that circumstances that are X and Y and Z usually rub me the wrong way. When I'm tired, or this is my personal example, when I am tired, usually my tolerance level for people who will ask the same question over and over again. Those people who keep asking the same question, it's not because they're not clear. It's just that they disagree with you, but they will not say, Phyllis, I disagree. They keep on saying, yeah, Mara, why this? Mara, why that? But you've explained it. Joe, Mara, you've explained it. Yeah, that takes me off. When I'm tired, I have less tolerance for, or let me say I have less grace for people who try to be sophisticated, Mara. You can see, Mara have explained, though I've explained. Can you just say you disagree? Don't say, hey, Mara, this is confusing. You know what I mean? Just an example. Think about your own examples of what are the things that trigger you. When you're not aware about the things that trigger you, you don't adequately prepare yourself for situations which can land you responding to people in a way that will tarnish that relationship. Remember, like Kasitu, I'll translate it into English. Kasitu, they say, Munona, your words don't come back. Once you've spoken your words, they don't come back. Like when I've pointed at you, I can bring back my finger, but I can't bring back the words that I've used. So when you don't have adequate emotional self-awareness, you can end up saying things that can damage relationships that you really need for your future, for your growth, and so on. So this is why it becomes important then from an emotional intelligence point of view to be aware of your triggers and be aware of the things that nourish you, so be balanced in that as well. Self-actualization has got to do with how hungry are you to become a better version of you. Are you, you're an entrepreneur now, you've got your books, you've got a certain client base right now. How hungry are you to grow your book such that you've got, maybe you grow it by 25%, depending on your industry? That might be realistic, that might be ambitious. But self-actualization has got to do with how hungry are you to be a better version of you, whether a quarter of the year down the line or next year this time, whatever the case is. But it's about you not being content with where you are. And I can imagine that the average person in this room is that way. You will not be content. That's why you would not be sitting. That's why you are attending here in this room today now, because you are probably hungry to improve, build your resilience, and become a better person. So the first start of building your resilience for this year is to have a relationship with yourself that is healthy. Have time for yourself to reevaluate, reaffirm yourself, critique yourself, go to other people, ask for feedback about how are you showing up, what do you need to improve. Ask people who can also feed into your life, that can share with you what you're doing good. Because as entrepreneurs, sometimes we can be hard on ourselves. I didn't get that deal. And then without being aware, give ourselves messages that say, hey, Marafis, you know you're not good enough. Yes, how come you didn't seal that deal at that time, and so on. So you need some people whom you trust and you love to feed you enough so that your relationship with yourself is healthy and it's balanced. So that's one. The second slice. So think about, where do you measure up with your relationship with yourself? Are you average? Are you below? Or are you above average? The second slice of your emotional intelligence, which will help with your resilience, is your ability to share your truth in a manner that allows you to hold your own, to take your space respectfully, but also does not minimize or disregard the opinion of other people. So think of a healthy self-expression as your ability to calmly, level-headedly share your truth, even if everybody else disagrees with you. So you can embrace and respect the fact that, you know what, I hear you. I hear your point. There's also this other way of